If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Welcome back to the Funny Business Podcast. Hope you're having a great day. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Welcome back. Little song for you all to start the day. Mike, how's it going?
I feel great now that you sang that song. I feel like we need to totally change up the song, and we need to just have that now in the beginning. Which screw the upbeat music. We're just doing if you're happy and you know clap your hands. Not sure if the copyright is any different or anything like that, but I'm fantastic today now. How are you?
Wonderful. And by the way, if you didn't clap your hands, just do me a favor, just don't listen to this podcast. So.
Well, I mean, if you're driving, like, do it in spirit, because
right.
you want to make
in your
sure
head.
that you.
Yeah, as long as you clap as long as you. What? Okay, moving on. Yeah, my day's going good. Work's been good. I'll touch that for later on in the show. But another episode of the Funny Business Podcast is ahead of us.
Heck yeah, man. And we're moving along here as always. There is lots to talk about. There's always lots to talk about. There's no lacking of talking about anywhere.
No lacking of anything for months.
No, for months or
Yeah.
years or anything like that.
No.
So, not at all.
We will have content forever.
Forever. Oh, that's really weird to say. Anyways, Matt, again, welcome again, everybody. Hopefully all of you enjoyed your week and you're just about to enjoy the weekend. If you're listening, if you're one of those people that listen to us the Friday it's out, which I hope you do, because, you're so excited for yet another episode. But let's jump into something that always I'm excited about. Apple. I talked many months ago, that Apple had their Worldwide Developers Conference. And for those who get very confused, not pointing out any names, Matt, not that I was pointing out your name.
Hi, my name is Matt, and I get very confused.
So Worldwide Developers Conferences that Apple hosts is more focused on the software. So you'll see the iOS updates, the Mac OS updates, the iPad, the Watch OS updates, the TV OS updates. But then when it comes to some of the events later on, closer to the fall, like this past Apple event, it's focused more on the hardware. It's focused on what the heck you're going to be buying in order for you to get that software onto the product. So Apple this past week, we just missed the cutoff in which we were discussing it. But Matt, Apple hosted yet another event, and they released some interesting products that, Matt, you probably have seen since the release of it. You've probably seen on social media. Wow, Matt's shaking his head. No, you have not seen them.
I had homestand this past week. Social media's... I miss out on a lot of stuff.
Besides TikTok.
Right. Yeah, there's always time. I may not have money for food. I may not have money for friends. But I always have money for TikTok. I have TikTok.
So Matt, I thought I'd go over some new products that have been released this past week. They will be released later on in the next couple weeks or months, but thought I'd take some time to review it just in case you may consider buying yet another iPhone or maybe even an iPad if you're feeling all good. So Matt, what they started off with was the iPad. So they start off with a very basic iPad. So they call it the iPad, which is the lowest and the least priciest of the product lineup. You can get an iPad for $329. Which is now more so the baseline model, is the advanced A13 Bionic chip. True Tone technology, finally an ultra-wide front camera with center stage. With center stage itself, Matt, when you are on a FaceTime call, it actually follows you if you're moving around the room, and it keeps you in frame. So instead of being all the way to the left of the frame like I am now, or all the way to the right of the frame, it would stay center like I usually am, all prim and proper here.
Okay, I like that. I feel like that's pretty cool.
It's now starting at 64 gigabytes of storage now, so people don't have to worry about buying lesser of the storages. But Matt, the big surprise with the iPads is the iPad mini. They got a refresh again with the A15 Bionic chip, a new all-screen design. So like the iPad Pros or, Matt, your iPhone 13, 12, my apologies, your iPhone 12, that is now the screen for iPad minis. There's no, bezels. There's no bezels within that. So it is a full screen itself. Super fast. If you do get the cellular plan, there is 5G available with the cellular plan. Again, ultra wide front camera with center stage, and it's now in these awesome, gorgeous colors. Now, Matt, I've been thinking of like trying to, I bought an iPad Air at one point, and I do like the screen size, but I also don't mind a nice iPad mini on top of that.
I think iPad mini's not a terrible thing to have, because I have I don't know what iPad I have. Does it say on the back here?
I think it's an Air.
No, I think it might be an Air. I wouldn't want a huge iPad. I feel like I wanted just a small little thing that I can use when I don't want to use my phone, or if I just want to switch it up. I understand maybe if people want to like stream Netflix on it, maybe I want a bigger screen for that. But I feel like iPads are good because it's small, they're good to travel, and it's just a change of pace.
Mm-hmm. iPad minis, but I feel like they are the competitor to Kindles or, your readers of them all, because you're not going to try to read a book on an iPad Pro, which is an 11-inch. Like you're not going to do that. Like you want it in the palm of your hand when you're reading a book, like all regular books, the actual hard copies of the books. Matt, we're moving on. Apple Watch Series 7.
My Apple Watch has not been good, by the way.
Really? What series are you on?
It's I think I have the 4.
Okay.
It's being very slow, and it's acting up.
Maybe you might need a nice little reset on that, or you need to update it, because that's another thing.
I think it is updated.
Okay. So this Apple Watch Series 7 has the largest, most advanced, always on Retina display. It is the most durable Apple Watch ever, with breakthrough health innovations and up to 33% faster charging.
I like that.
Bigger screen, faster charging, durable. They were showing they still do these virtual presentations, which I think they're absolutely amazing. They did a lot of drone shots. They did a lot of landscape too. Like they weren't actually at the Steve Jobs Theater. They were like around California, Cupertino. I think that's the correct area of Apple. But Matt, they moved into what everyone is really looking forward to. The iPhone 13 and the iPhone 13 Pro, iPhone 13 Max, and iPhone 13 Mini.
Can I ask a question about the watch real quick?
Oh, go for it.
Did you say bigger screen?
Bigger screen, yes.
I don't know how I feel about that.
So trying to find a little bit of a follow-up here. The Apple Watch has more than 20%. The new models have more than 20% screen area over last year's Series 6 models, but retain an industrial design with rounded edges. So you're practically almost hitting like the edge of the screen, with the exception. I'd say it's a little flatter. Like if I'm trying to give context over a radio podcast, like it's a little flatter. Like ours is a little bit bulkier. Like there's a little bit flatter for that.
So it's thinner.
Thinner.
Okay, I like that. That's not bad. Because I don't want a huge, big like Apple Watch on my wrist. Like I feel like I want it like condensed so that like not everybody can see what's on my watch.
Yeah. I mean that was with the original Apple Watches. They're bulky, they're huge, but then they started getting more involved and advanced with technology. Great question. So the iPhone 13s, Matt, I have an opinion. I've been really not liking iPhone lineups lately. As far as advancements and the wow factors. Now
breaking news, Mike's going to Samsung.
I mean, Samsung, if you're listening, you want to work out a deal.
If I have to text you the green bubbles, this podcast is over. That's a deal breaker.
You can still text me on an iMac, man. I'd still text you back.
Well, that's the only way you're allowed to text me.
Yeah. So you won't hear from me until I'm at my desk after 4:30 every day.
Yes.
So it has the iPhone 13. So the So I'm not going into the Pro. I'm going just with the base model of the 13s. It has, quote, the most advanced dual camera system ever, an even brighter OLED display, a lightning fast chip that leaves the competition behind, and a huge leap in battery life. Doesn't seem like much has been done for the regular iPhone.
Yeah, seems pretty simple.
Now for the iPhone 13 Pro, a dramatically more powerful camera system, an all-new OLED display with ProMotion, and the world's fastest smartphone chip, and a huge leap in battery life. So they added a bunch of these weird like things that you can do with the camera, like as far as like a video camera. With the iPhone 13 mini, it's at $699, and then the iPhone 13 itself is $799. But moving into like the iPhone 13 Pro and the Pro Max, with that, iPhone 13 Pro starts at $999, Max starts at $1,099. And Apple also has added a 1 terabyte of storage option.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a ton.
Terabyte.
Yeah.
So they have these camera, Super Retina XDR with ProMotion, working with, I'm trying to find some of the information here. There's like focus pointing. I know that's not the correct terminology, but like it allows you to put a focus in the foreground and a focus in the background, but like have it change. And I don't know. I'm always the person to say you can never go wrong with a DSLR camera or an actual camera that has a lens, but everyone is like, oh, well, I shoot these pretty photos with my iPhone. Like, okay, well, great, but you're not taking away the fact that you're shooting photos with a phone. And it's always, it's always when it comes to the marketing of Apple, it's always you improve the battery life, you make it bigger, or you add a better camera to it. And we're so stuck. Like, Matt, I don't know if you remember, but back when the iPhone 10 came out, like that was huge innovation. No home button, Face ID, even back in the earlier phones, like Touch ID, there's no actual physical home button, the dual camera system that was working with the original iPhone. And now we're just kind of stuck in cameras and screen stuff.
I don't hate it in a weird way. Like I don't need every new phone to be like this new groundbreaking thing. Sometimes I just like if you have an iPhone 11, like if I get a new phone, I don't want to learn how to like reuse the entire phone.
Right.
Like sometimes I just want a new phone that kind of does the same stuff. So I kind of understand that. Probably in like a year or two, maybe they will have a new groundbreaking thing. I'll never forget, you brought up the home button thing. I'll never forget how like worried I was that I wasn't going to have a home button. I wasn't going to know how to use it. And now it's just like so natural. It's freaky.
I guess they've been promoting that Face ID is one of the most secure locking mechanisms on a phone, period.
I love Face ID.
Yeah, Face ID is really helpful. So, but yeah, Matt, that's the lineup for all the Apple goodness. People have been saying that they always do a small follow-up event, and that might actually focus on the MacBooks or the iMacs. I really, really hope that they don't release a like super-powered Mac Mini with the M1 chip, because your boy just recently purchased a Mac Mini. This was months ago, but I love it, and I don't want to hate it because I know there's something better out there.
Yeah, it's always a struggle.
That's the Apple way. Like that's, you buy something and, because I think at the point when I get around this time of the year, everybody's like, Mike, what phone recommendation should you make? And I'm like, guys, if you can wait like a couple more weeks, Apple's going to release a new iPhone. And either you can get cheaper prices on the old ones, or you can invest in the current latest and greatest iPhone itself. So, even for that. So I don't believe I mentioned the price of the iPad mini. It is actually in, if I'm correct, yeah, wait, nope, maybe. maybe not.
Hold up, wait a minute.
Wait a minute. It's $499 as the base model.
Ooh.
For the iPad Mini with like the screen and all that. So I know.
Oof. Yikes.
You're getting a small iPad Pro. Like, I mean, without the M1 chip inside of it. That M1 chip is just absolutely ridiculous when it comes to putting a tablet with a computer chip.
Yeah, that's a little steep, I feel like.
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at it now, people use iPads as computers now. Like, we're starting to get to that point where people are using their iPads as laptops, whereas comparison to like us back in the day, like we had to use laptops for school.
That's true. Yeah, I didn't think about that. It's a good point. I guess people use it for work and everything like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, of course, you get handed a work laptop or work computer when you go to a job anyway. It's not like you got to use your personal computer.
True.
Unless it's your internship. So, yeah, that's the Apple event. Maybe we'll have a follow-up or a quick follow-up when it comes time for the second event. If they do decide to have a second event, pray to God that that's not anything that's super detrimental to my Mac Mini purchase. So
fingers crossed.
And speaking of detrimental, Matt, we haven't played What's the Word in forever. And I think it's time for this episode of the Funny Business Podcast to play it again. Yes, welcome everybody to another game of What's the Word. If you forgot, Matt, why don't you explain it?
So basically we have a random word generator that Mike will click and a random word will pop up and we will discuss it. Unless we can't think of anything, then we will pass.
As always, Matt, how many clicks should I do for the first random word?
4.
Oh, God, they're going to say 40. It's like, you jerk.
100.
Right. 1,
1,000.
2, 3, 4. Okay. First word. Expect.
I got nothing.
I have a really interesting quote that was shared to me by a colleague's significant other. Don't expect what you don't inspect.
Don't expect what you don't inspect. I don't follow.
So basically, if you're not if you have an expectation of something, so let's say you and I are let's say you're working something for me. Like, let's say you're making a video. And, I want the video done a certain way. Like, I want the video done in 30 seconds. If I don't inspect that you're doing the video in 30 seconds, I can't expect the video to be 30 seconds.
Okay. Yeah. Makes sense now.
It's a weird management quote, but...
Yeah. Okay. I like it.
Next one. Bleed.
Bleed. Let me tell you, I was going to save it for down the dumps in the end. I'll talk about it now. I got like 9 different bug bites on like Saturday, like all over the place. My arms, my neck, my legs, and accidentally scratched one open and started to bleed. Ooh. And it was the problem is I had to take Benadryl last night because they all just itched at the same time and I just couldn't handle it. It was ridiculous. And I'm a person, like, when I get a bug bite, I get like a huge bug bite. So I don't know if you can see like the little lump right there.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. That's small. Like, it was larger last night. And they're just starting to itch right now. And yeah, it's not fun.
Yeah, all I can think about is me bleeding when I cut myself a couple weeks ago before the recording. Yeah, that wasn't fun. I haven't seen any like really bad accidents yet. Like, you always have like change of pace here.
What?
Like you always somehow experience like somebody really cutting themselves. Like, because I remember this was a party Jenna and I went a couple years ago for her friend Danielle. They were trying to get a wine bottle opened and they broke. I believe, if I'm correct, they were using a knife to try to get the bottle open because there was no bottle opener. And I think it was Danielle, if I'm correct. She cut her hand with the knife, and like they had her hand over the sink, and like everybody was like trying to figure it out as we were trying to go forward. And yeah, that was fun.
Yikes! Bleeding's not fun.
No.
Oh.
Next one, Matt. Output.
Output. Again, I got nothing.
I'm trying to get so fun fact, because of this experience with the Funny Business podcast, your boy is now the advisor of a college radio station. No, I'm just kidding. That was not a byproduct. I was asked, so I'm trying to get the output so that way I can play in the Student Life Center. So when they play their music and when they do their shows, like you can hear it outside of the station. So
That's cool.
Crossing fingers that
maybe
students get it.
Maybe just slide into this audio into the radio station.
I was thinking about it. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, do I because you can schedule, like I'm trying to figure out the scheduling system. You could actually schedule podcasts at a certain time, like time of the hour. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, do I put Funny Business at like 10 o'clock at night, like Monday through Friday, and like see if anybody notices?
Yeah, I'll just come up on Sundays. We'll use it on Sunday.
No, but I mean, like you record the episode, like we literally record the episode right now, and then the podcast feed takes it and it schedules it because it's taking the RSS feed. And yeah, I'm getting all geeked out here. And then the output comes in.
We should just use the studio to record. That's I'll pay rent.
My department chair said if you need to use it for any other projects, feel free to do so. So
okay, I'll pay. Listen, I'll pay a price.
I'll pay.
Yeah,
Matt will make a donation.
Right, yeah, I'll make a donation to the Macaulay Scholarship. I don't know.
Matt, the next one, Mass.
Oh man, have I not been to church in like forever?
Oh yeah, because of work.
And then the last couple times I have gone to Mass, I didn't get communion because I haven't been going to Mass. And it's the whole thing of like, if you don't like go to church, like you're supposed to go to confession to take communion. Yeah. So I haven't been taking communion since like maybe June. Yeah. And I haven't been to church in like a month. It's been bad.
Wow. Jen and I went to church this past Sunday, and I noticed it was fuller than previous weeks that were there. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, why is it so full? And then at the end, the priest asked all the kids to come up for a blessing, and it was first day of Sunday school. I'm like, that is why there's so many people here, because they're bringing their kids to Sunday school.
That makes sense. I think also in the Catholic diocese, I think our bishop or the Pope lifted the rule that you didn't have to go to church because of COVID. I think that rule has now been lifted for Catholics.
Mine did too. Yeah, mine did too. But yeah, it's a religion.
Yep.
Matt, the next one, bird.
Have you ever heard of bird dogs?
I've seen that before. Like I've seen the word bird dogs.
So it's a company. Again, this is not an ad, but I wouldn't mind if Bird Dogs wants to sponsor us. So they're like shorts that have like underwear lining, that you like khaki shorts that also can act as like swim trunks too.
So do you have to wear underwear with them?
No, you don't have to because it's built-in underwear.
Oh.
Yeah, I've looked at line, a little pricey, but people say they are awesome and like the most comfortable pairs of shorts they wear.
I mean, hey, you are pretty on fire when it comes to some apparel, like clothing apparel.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Won't mention the the brand because that require a sponsorship. So
yes, right.
I feel like we've said stamp before, so I'm skipping it.
Okay.
Price.
Let me tell you, the price of gas is tough.
What is this, happy hour? Let me tell you about those gas prices.
I had to get gas today. And it's just like, it's crazy. I used to be able to fill up for like $29, and now it's like $40 every time I go to get gas. Like, what the hell?
The first thing that came to me when I saw the word price was the commercial. Wow, that's a low price.
It's a great commercial.
Yeah, I was like, please God, I hope you remember the commercial. Yeah. Next one. Cap.
That's Cap.
That's cap.
Cap. Is that not trendy anymore?
Cap? No, I feel like. Oh my god!
I don't know, because I've seen people like say like you can't say cap anymore, and I think that's cap.
Some of the kids said, "Oh, that's cap," and I thought to myself, "I'm like, they think I don't know this, but I do know this."
I'm young and hip. I know what cap is.
I'm young and hip. You know what? The one thing I did ask today during class, somebody said that, we got to go to Taco Bell. And a student that is in my class works at Taco Bell. And, I was just chit-chatting it up. And, the kid's like, he's like, I'll probably DoorDash it later this afternoon. And I thought to myself, I'm like, do you guys, like, use DoorDash often? And the kid shared with me, the student, I should say, shared with me that I've never used DoorDash before, but ever since coming to college, I've used DoorDash. Now, mind you, a little bit of context, our university doesn't allow first-year students to have cars on campus unless they're commuters or specifically written reason. But I thought to myself, I'm like, wow, like back in the day, it was either you found an upperclassman to pick you up and get to where you want, or it was either like, it had to be like a Domino's. Like it had to be Domino's that did delivery.
You just said back in the day like it was 15 years ago. It was 4 years ago. Or it's 8 years ago, 7 years ago, whatever. People use DoorDash and that stuff like Uber Eats all the time. Like I know people that use it like almost every day. And it's crazy.
It's interesting.
Also, you brought up Taco Bell.
Yeah.
They have a new chicken sandwich taco that's like their version of the chicken sandwich.
Okay.
And I don't know if I said this last week or a couple weeks ago. I'm on a huge chicken sandwich kick.
Ooh.
Huge. Yeah. I just tried Popeyes today for the first time in my life.
Okay. I remember us trying to figure that out.
Really was pretty good. I was very impressed. Yeah.
Interesting.
The sauce was good. It was a lot of meat in the sandwich with little crisp, because Chick-fil-A doesn't really have a crisp. So that was good. Popeyes fries also good. Wendy's chicken sandwich was okay, hit or miss. Burger King's wasn't terrible, but I'd rank it below Popeyes and Chick-fil-A. And KFC. KFC's is good. Very good.
You want to hear some bullshit I don't think I shared with you this week?
Go for it.
So, advising a group of students for their class. So we host a spirit night at the Chick-fil-A. We were so excited. Like, we've had this scheduled since May of this year. Like, we already reached out to the manager, and she's super cool about it, yada, yada, yada. So it's about, like, spirit night starts at 5 o'clock. I'm still at work. 4:45 comes around. I get a text from my president and goes, OFC, the nugget machine is down.
No.
So they didn't have chicken nuggets during our freaking spirit night.
Oh, that's like, unfortunate. What? That is Spain without the S. Oh,
we did pretty well.
Tough.
We did okay. I mean, to be honest, we did okay. But it was pain. It was so much.
You can't make that up. You really can't make that up. That's. I mean, if it was a McDonald's fundraiser, you would expect the ice cream machine to be broken. Right. You don't expect the Chick-fil-A nugget machine to be down.
Yeah.
Damn.
I was so hurt.
They have no other way to make the nuggets? Can't they just like...
It was a supply chain thing. Like something with... It was storming that day. Like it was something weird with the supply chain. It was... I know. But...
Damn.
Hey, it's over. It's past. They're moving ahead. We'll do 2 more. Dead. I've stopped watching The Walking Dead. It's last season. Have you?
Yeah, I just can't get into it. I just can't. Like I like my family, either my mom or my brother still watch it. I'll ask what happens in the episodes, but like I have no interest to actually sit down for an hour and watch it. It got bad.
Huh. And I'm just dead inside. So.
Same. Yeah.
All right. Last
Pretty
click.
much.
I'm gonna give a little ASMR. I'm gonna. Uh-oh, Matt, where'd you go? No, I'm kidding.
Let me tell you, if you just zoned out and heard that sound, that was Mike clicking a mouse.
Complication.
I don't know why, but Complicated by Avril Lavigne. That's all that caught my head.
Trying to think. Isn't there another song? Wait, no, she sings it still. I'm thinking of the same one. Why
you gotta be so complicated?
I should have said.
Banger.
I should have said. I should have saved for the Nugget Machine for a complication.
It's an absolute banger.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. What's another one that has complicated? Complication. There's Californication, but that's technically not it.
Nope.
Yeah, drawing a blank. That's okay.
There is one out there. I just can't think of the name of it.
It's going to bother us for the rest of the time. Anyway,
Yep.
We'll probably go to commercial break. We'll be like, yes, that's the one. And then you'll hear in the sports segment. But however, we will take a commercial break before we get to that. And after that, Matt's got the sports. Let's say you start a podcast or you're running your own side hustle and have a bunch of links that you want your audience to know about. As a podcast, Matt and I have all of our social media, all of our podcast links, and other important things. Make it easier for your followers to find your important links, social media, and latest content by having it all in one page with solo.to. I'll be honest, I have used similar websites like this, but nothing compares to solo.to. All of your links are clean and easy to navigate. Have an upcoming video? It's really easy to make those changes. Plus, solo.to has opportunities to upgrade to include more customization, advanced analytics, and so much more. Solo.to is giving us a special opportunity for you to get 10% off if you create an account and upgrade. Be sure to go to solo.to/funnybusiness to create your account today. Solo.to, it's the way to go. Do you think, Matt, people are tired of hearing our Anchor ad?
Yeah, probably. But let's be honest. If it wasn't for Anchor, we would not be doing a podcast.
You're right, Matt. Once again, we have to thank Anchor for helping us continue to make each episode. Y'all know how it works. Anchor is free. It's easy to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer, and distributes your podcast to platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more.
And you all know that you can make money too, even with the first couple episodes that you start with.
So why haven't you started your own podcast yet? Anchor is everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started. That's anchor.fm.
So, Mike, when do you think we'll stop talking about Anchor?
Oh, man, Matt. You know what? To be completely honest, I think we'll be talking about this for a long time.
Okay, let's slide into the sports topics we have for you all today. First one was a story suggested by Mike. So Mike was obviously watching golf this past weekend, and there's a huge story that he said, Matt, we haven't talked golf in a long time. We really got to talk about it. I was like, Mike, I don't know. I had a soccer story picked out, but he really wanted to talk about it. So guys, we're going to talk some golf.
I insisted.
Yes, absolutely. So the Ryder Cup is coming up. So for those that don't know, the Ryder Cup is actually a team competition between Team USA and I believe Team Europe. I don't think it's all international players, just the USA and Europe. It happens every other year. 1 year it'll happen in the United States, and then 2 years later it'll happen in Europe, and then they switch back and forth. This year, I believe it is in Whistling Straits. I believe that is in Wisconsin or Michigan, somewhere around there. And Team USA is already not off to a great start, and the tournament hasn't even started. So Brooks Koepka is one of the players on Team USA. He did an interview with Golf Digest this past week, or 2 weeks ago, and voiced his frustration about the way the event takes an individual player away from what he's accustomed to doing at a regular event. And because of those comments, Paul Azinger, who I believe is I don't know if he's the captain of the USA team, but he's well known in golf, is kind of saying, if Koepka doesn't like it, it really shouldn't be in there. So basically what Brooks was saying is that as a individual golfer in a regular tournament, all you have to worry about is yourself. So you have to worry about hitting a good drive, hitting your irons well, having a good short game, and putting. In the Ryder Cup, you're playing as a team and with a partner. So, yeah, you can have a really good drive, but then your partner hits a bad second shot into the bunker, and now it's up to you to hit a good shot onto the green, which is very different because in regular golf, you only have yourself to blame. So you could go out there and shoot like a 67 or play like you're going to shoot a 67 and still lose your match because your partner played bad. But in the end, you can also lose your match and still win the Ryder Cup because it's a team competition. So he's just saying it's very hard to switch the mentality of playing golf from a regular event to the Ryder Cup because it involves this whole teammate issue. What are your thoughts on that?
It just sounds like he's too afraid to team up with everybody because he'll be the one who's the heavier of the weight. Because he probably I think he's too afraid to work as a team because based on those regulations, he's going out and saying he's uncomfortable working in a team. And usually when some people are uncomfortable working in a team, that means they're not going to do the best in a team.
But he's done well in the Ryder Cup before. I think he's just saying it's harder, it's different to prepare. Like, it's harder to come in prepared because you never know what shot you're going to have or where you're going to be. Whether in an 18 round, you can practice hitting from different spots in the fairway or, different shots you're going to do. But, some of the team competitions are, let's say, Koepka's with Brooksy DeChambeau.
Right.
I'm probably going to get arrested for saying that. So basically how it'll work, some of the competitions is Koepka will have the drive, and then the second shot will be DeChambeau, and then the third shot is Brooks, and they alternate that way. So that could also get challenging because let's say you're having a bad day on the tee box. What if you always have to constantly be driving and you're the only thing you're doing is hitting bad shots, and then how does that affect you mentally during the competition?
Yeah. No, I mean, it is an individual game. I mean, I have to agree with him, but if you're representing your country, I feel like you have to play as a team. You can't be the one and only USA player for, USA.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is Team USA just kind of hates each other. Like, we know Brooks and Bryson DeChambeau don't like each other. No one really likes Bryson. And then no one likes Patrick Reed because he's an interesting character. So the camaraderie already isn't there. And now you have to come and play as a team, which you don't do before in a long time, in 2 years. It can be very, very frustrating. So I understand where he's coming from. But I also understand the backlash because if you don't like the Ryder Cup, you don't have to play in the Ryder Cup.
Right.
So I guess you just got to pick your poison. But I still love Brooks because he is the best. Moving on from golfers not liking each other to Major League Baseball players, maybe not liking each other, but not having the best time. So the San Diego Padres were coming into the season expected to be contending for the National League title, not let alone the division. Got off to a very hot start and are just in a downward spiral out of the playoffs right now. Mike, last week, Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr. Got in a bit of a screaming match in the dugout during a game. So what happened was Tatis took a strike 3 call, and Machado was yelling, angry about something. Wasn't angry at Tatis because you could see them at the end of the argument. Machado shouted and cursed at Tatis, telling him, quote, "It's not about you," and, quote, "You go play baseball," after he struck out. So I think Machado was just frustrated that the team's not performing well. And it just so happened that these two guys who are very passionate about baseball just got into a screaming match in the dugout in the middle of a game. So everyone's kind of like freaking out, like, oh, like no wonder they're playing bad because they're screaming at each other. But it didn't really seem like they were mad at each other. I think tensions were just high. So what are your thoughts on this scenario before I get into another question about teammates yelling at each other?
I mean that you're more so talking about egos than you are talking about game development than anything. Like, this sounded like a very not one-sided conversation, but it sounded like a very irrelevant conversation. Like, like you said, like he was yelling, "It's not about you," yada yada yada. Like it just was. It was very much so not about the game. It was about them. And I don't know. I don't think that's meant for outside of the game than it is, but I digress.
What do you mean? Like outside of the game? Like you just think he was mad because of?
It's not meant to be during the game. Like, if you want to start yelling at each other about, not yelling, but if you want to start arguing about, it's not about you, dude, or it's not about me. Like, it's about the team. Like, do it in the, wow, what is it called? The dugout. Not the dugout. Wow.
Clubhouse.
Clubhouse. Thank you.
Yeah, I think he was just more so mad because the team's struggling, which understandably happens. I think this this would have been fine if it just wasn't on camera. The problem is there's videos and pictures of them screaming at each other. Also awkward because next half inning, they had to go play defense and Machado plays third base and Tatis is shortstop. So that's unfortunate. What are your thoughts on players kind of just yelling at each other in general? I feel like every time we see videos or like a coach yelling at a player in professional sports, we always see these videos and we're like, uh-oh, like something's going on, something's in trouble. But sometimes guys respond that way better. Like I don't always see, like when I see teammates yelling at each other, even if they have to get like separated in dugout, it's not like they're going to fist fight each other. They're just passionate people and they want to win. So I don't always see that as a negative thing.
I think it's bad for press. Like it's bad when you see two players yelling, like actually yelling at each other. I'm all about for disagreement. My boss said it to me today. She's like, I hope you can disagree with me at some point. I'm like, I do sometimes, just not in this conversation. But, it's okay to have that point of discussion and be able to have those disagreements. I would hope it'd be something other than what was discussed. Like we said, what was discussed during this. Yelling just is a whole PR, not a disaster, but a mess. As far as being like, well, they were just talking about this and that. Like, it's to the point where you're explaining more without having, like, you're doing more work by this happening.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because it's on TV, it's going to be a big deal. But sometimes it's just like, especially in sports when you only have 3 hours to play the game and it's not going so well, you're going to get upset, you're going to get angry, and maybe someone says the wrong thing and you just kind of let loose. But I don't always see it as a negative thing. Like I don't think they hate each other as teammates. They're just passionate guys. Like they're very passionate people. They like the sport. They want to win. Right now they're not winning, so they're not gonna be happy. Like what do you want them to come back after looking at strike three, giving a high five, be like, get him next time? That's not gonna happen. Like they're professional athletes. Like they know they have to do better, and they got heated. Like it is what it is.
Right.
Moving on, our final topic. Mike, this has been going on for not a long time. Well, it has been going on for a long time in college sports. Recently has started up again. I don't think we touched on this before. Mike, have we touched on this before? Did we talk about Texas and Oklahoma?
I think so.
Okay. Well, it's happening again. So for those that forget, Texas and Oklahoma switching from the Big 12 to the SEC. Obviously, big news because Texas and Oklahoma are the biggest teams left in the Big 12. So they will be joining the SEC in 2025. To replace those two teams, the Big 12 will now be getting, I believe it's Cincinnati, Houston, BYU. I have to look up the list of teams. Okay. But basically replacing Texas and Oklahoma with 4 different teams. College landscapes has just been changed dramatically. I mean, we've seen it years ago with Rutgers, Nebraska, Maryland going to the Big 10, Texas A&M, who originally left the Big 12 to go to the SEC, and they're kind of the big losers in this scenario because when they left the Big 12 to go to the SEC, they were the only team in Texas to be in the SEC, which is huge. Now Texas is going, obviously a bigger name than A&M. They're probably not going to be very happy. So the 4 teams joining were UCF, Central Florida, BYU, Cincinnati, Houston. So what are your thoughts on conference realignment with teams switching conferences, which it's probably mostly just for money, but you're also leaving rivalries and history in the past?
Yeah, I mean, that I think from a viewership standpoint, you're going to have some unfortunate people be upset. You're going to have some people be upset over the fact that they're not going to have those competitions. I think what you're also going to have is everyone is super competitive in college. You don't know whatever happens with college. But I think the issue behind that is you're going to have colleges and universities that come into certain divisions that weren't in a different division beforehand, and they're going to get stomped on because they're in a new division, they're in a new area, new likes, the likes in which you have never seen before. You're going to have those growing pains. And again, I always love taking college sports into an enrollment standpoint. You're hopping over to a different division and you start sucking. How is that going to look for your enrollment? As far as, I should say recruitment.
Right.
How's that going to look for your recruitment when, BYU goes into this different division and now they suck? Like, the fact that, we know colleges such at Penn State. Penn State, you're going to have a lot of great football players because they always have a great season. They always have a great record. They always have a good bowl opportunity. But yeah, you're going to have those growing pains if people don't plan and strategize correctly.
You're 100% right. Like recruiting, let's be real. Texas and Oklahoma went to the Big 12 or went to the SEC because of football. That's why they did. But the SEC also plays like a completely different style of football because they're the best at recruiting.
Right.
Like SEC offensive line, defensive lines are huge guys. So Texas and Oklahoma are going to have to start recruiting those guys so that they can compete in the SEC. And until they're in the SEC and prove that they can win, are they going to be able to get those recruits? Who knows? Like, yeah, you're big names, Texas and Oklahoma, but what are a lot of kids going to want to go spend 4 years at Oklahoma when they can spend 4 years at Florida or 4 years at Alabama?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
And plus, you're more marketable. Yeah, I mean, if you want to do post-professional activity. So I'll just, if you're winning and you're doing well, you're playing well, then you're going to be more open for professional recruitment by these big NFL, NBA, MLB, the NHL, like having all those professional teams recruit you because you had an outstanding season. But then you switch over to a conference. Like the recruiting thing is always interesting because I always wonder how the heck, I mean, I'm sure you would give me a little bit better standpoint, but the recruitment process, you said Texas is moving to SEC?
Yes.
So Texas had their recruitment strategy. Like they had people that went in certain areas. They knew Texas is a big football state. Like you can't go wrong. Like big high school football state. But then when you go to the SEC, where do you go next? Like, and where is that strategy behind said person who was covering once Texas now has to cover something like Nebraska or Bishop Sycamore or all these other places that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these schools and conferences have specific states, like pipeline states, that they specifically target because those people or those players come from an area that are known for producing offensive linemen or quarterbacks or everything like that. So it is going to be different. And like the style of play is different. Like defenses in the SEC produce like first round talents every year in the NFL draft. Defenses in the Big 12 give up like thousands of yards a game. Like they're bad. They're just not good. So it's going to be a whole completely different strategy. I think the other fear that people are having, let's take a look at Ohio State. They have kind of been running the Big Ten. And again, this is all happening because of football. It just is because football is just the king in college sports.
It's the biggest revenue thing too. So it's...
Exactly. It's all about the money. So if you're Ohio State and maybe you're not getting as much money as you could in the Big Ten as you could in the SEC, and you can play higher quality teams, what's the incentive for them to stay in the Big Ten? I think that's the big fear, is that we're just going to have a super conference all because of football, and then the rest of college sports is going to get messed up because of it.
Right.
So, in response to this, I think it was the ACC, the Big Ten, and the Pac-12 had like a new, not a peace treaty, but like a like an agreement that they're not going to switch. Like they're not going to form new conferences and they're going to kind of like stick together, which I think is good. I think that's needed because I don't think we want to see the 20 best schools all in the same conference. I think that would kind of ruin college sports to a degree. And that concludes the sports topics we have for you all today. We had a lot of fun. Now it's time to dig into our emotions, and it is time for Down in the Dumps. I have a few. I don't know if you would like to go first. Do you want me to go first? You pick.
I'm in a glass case of emotion.
Oh,
no. No, I'm kidding. How about, why don't you go first? I feel like you haven't gone first in this segment. So
okay.
The floor is yours, baby.
All right. I have a few.
Baby? What's up, baby?
I mentioned the first one with the bug bites. It's not good. Work has been good. We have 5 games left this season.
Oh God.
It's been a long season, but it's been a good season. Glad baseball's back. Last homestand is the first week in October, which means I will miss homecoming at Misericordia. It's very unfortunate. Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay, Matt.
It's just not having homecoming last year. And I think I was at the one in 2019. Like I was really looking forward to getting back.
You remember the one being in 2019?
I remember personally the one in 2019. And very much looking forward to getting back, especially looking to see some people I haven't seen in a long time. And then we got announced that we had 5 extra games, which is good. Like we could use the games, but homecoming would have been fun.
I'll talk to your VP about it.
Speaking of a VP, shout out Brian, who has seen some clips of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, he informed me that I lied. So I said a few weeks ago that, or was it last week?
Last week.
Was it last week? Last week that sharks don't know camels exist because camels have never been to the ocean. Apparently camels can swim. Apparently camels have swam in the ocean. So hand up, that's on me. I lied. As a podcaster, I pride myself as a man of faith. There's a deep drive left field to Castellanos. That'll make it a 4-0 ball game. So that's my apology for you right there. So there's that. I think my final one, I thought I had a few others. I can't really think of it. My Apple Watch band. So I have a magnetic one.
Yeah.
I'll show it to the camera.
Uh-huh.
It's not broken, but it has a dent.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know if you can really see it. Is it right there? Yeah, right there. Yeah. It's got a little dent. I don't know how it happened. And now I obviously want to get a new one because when I go to take it off, it kind of gets stuck there. Like it doesn't really go down all the way. And I looked at the bands that I have and I don't really like them anymore. So now I have to order new bands for my Apple Watch, which is already just starting to get slower and slower.
I always like the OG, I don't want to call them the silicone. Yeah, the silicone bands that go with them. It's just fair. Yeah.
I used to wear those and I liked it. But I started wearing the magnetic ones. I like those too, but I might have to go back to the silicone just to try it.
Are they Apple brands, the one that you have, or?
They're not. I don't remember where I got them from. But it's durable. I've been wearing this for like 2 years, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Interesting.
But yeah, it really wasn't a bad week. It's been a good week. Or a good couple months since we last did this segment.
Well, Matt, stuff happened the past couple days. Third time of the recording, of course. It seemed like you wanted to say something.
No.
So, Matt, if you remember correctly, all of the time our podcast has been in inception. My 2019 tax return did not come. Time this recording today. It came.
Oh, okay.
My tax return came.
Okay.
However, I'm not.
Yeah. Why is this down in the dumps?
I made my first loan payment.
Oh no! Oh, R.I.P.
That was just Mr. It's like when you always use like Disney stuff. It's Mickey Mouse knocking on your door. It's government knocking on your door. FBI, open up. I made my first loan payment today.
Damn, we're old.
Which to me, I have a full, based on the terms and conditions that I've been looking at, I researched a little bit online. I have a full year before my interest kicks in.
Okay, that's not bad.
So I have some ground that I can take on. For some God reason, if we start making more money on this podcast, I might be done a little bit earlier. But I'm not gonna. I'm not going to be able to pay him off within that year's bracket of time. However, it's going to be less than what I had, and there's going to be less interest because of some of the stuff that I paid off. So I can't really complain. Like,
no,
it's still loans, but I can't complain.
The loans do suck, but you're right. You can at least half smile about that part, because you're not going to. It'll save you months or even a year or two, something like that. That's not terrible.
More like 5.
Yeah, 5 years. That's pretty sweet.
So I was happy. Like I chuckled when I opened it up. I'm like, wow, here we are. like I've been told, like, some people have never seen, like, if you haven't had their tax return in years. It just so happened that it came knocking on my doorstep today. So yeah. The first loan payment and not the last, unfortunately, because my tax return was not that much.
It's unfortunate.
That's unfortunate. So, my last one.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I'm kind of nervous.
Matt, the futon is going away.
What?
Yeah.
What happened to the futon?
Nothing happened to the futon.
So what's replacing the futon?
A nice, hopefully, God forbid. I found a really nice Facebook Marketplace couch purchase.
Okay.
Has been owned by the individual less than a year. It's a pretty decent sized couch. It's actually bigger than the futon.
Okay.
And yeah, it's futon's going away.
It's gonna be weird not having living with a futon.
Which kind of, yeah, like, like I started playing In the Arms of an Angel when Jenna was here. She's like, "Can you stop?" I'm like, "You don't realize how a futon has been a part of my life for so long."
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, people don't realize the power and the good feeling you get from owning a futon.
Owning a futon. And by all means, I mean, Jenna, she made a good point. She's like, "Why didn't you play it when you got rid of your older futon?" And I'm like, you got a good point. Like, I don't know. Like, so, and she's like, "Well, you really don't have that many people over." And I'm like, "Yeah, but like the futon is just so beneficial to anybody who's there." And then, yeah. So at the time of this recording, tomorrow I should be getting it. I'm going to laugh hysterically by the time it's published on Friday. I'm not getting it, but I think I have a pretty good chance that it's getting that. But hey, tax return was able to pay for was able to pay for the entire the couch. So
there we go. That's good. So
nice.
This was a melancholy is melancholy the right word? This was not a terrible down in the dumps. Like, we had bad weeks, but we still had fun with it.
Melancholy is like a medium, Matt. Like, it's kind of like a medium.
Yeah. It's melancholy down in the dumps.
Mild.
Yeah, mild version.
Mild. So, yeah, I mean, I took off the legs of the futon and it's ready to go. I just want to make sure. I was actually going to toss it before I even got the couch. Jenna's like, "You should probably wait until you actually get the couch." I'm like,
yeah,
good
definitely.
idea.
So you're just throwing out the futon?
As of right now, yes.
Okay.
I may change my mind.
If anyone listening would like to buy the futon, you can call Mike at
Funnybusinessentertainment@gmail.com.
Yes, at funnybusinessentertainment@gmail.com. Hit us up. Or
watch. Okay.
come comment on our streams.
Yes. Could you imagine on Twitch? Oh, thank you for the $100 donation from I donate for fun 420. Hey, sir, I heard about your futon. I would like to purchase it. Can you send it to me? And I'd be like, nope, I can't, but thanks for the donation.
Yeah, Mike is actually going to keep the futon, and we're going to run a special. The first 20 people to subscribe to our Twitch channel will be entered in a raffle to win Mike's futon.
Wait,
so,
that actually is not a bad. It's actually not a bad idea.
That's why I said it. Yeah, so you're gonna have to keep that for a month. Contest will go on for a month. So it's either the first 20 people to enter, or however many we get,
or a social media contest. We're giving away a futon, a lightly used futon.
Great for podcasts.
Matt, I think you'll appreciate it.
Appreciate what?
The couch when you're over.
Oh, I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yes. Okay, good. I think out of everyone that I'm friends with, you were probably the only person that was worried about how you react to that.
Hey, you gotta do you.
I know. And then when you move to the apartment, like, maybe I should hold it until you move into your own apartment, Matt.
Where are you gonna put that thing?
I mean, it looks like a nice wall decor. Like, when it's all like flat and folded out, like, it looks like a nice like wall decor.
Where are you gonna keep it for?
I'm probably gonna toss it, man.
Okay, yeah, right.
Or
unless we get a sub.
Yeah, unless I slide it behind the couch, the new couch, and I push it back, and it stays firm up against the wall. But
could happen. No. Probably not.
No. But speaking of subscriptions, make sure you follow us on our social media, or subscribe or follow or use your Amazon Prime for your subscription for our twitch.tv/funnybusinessen. You can find all of our social media, in case you are more than Twitch, at solo.to/funnybusiness. Mr. Matt, it's time for your advice.
Yep.
We've been thinking about this all week.
I came prepared this time.
Okay, what's your advice?
Yes, I have stuff coming. People are going to forget. It's going to come up on you. We're getting up to the end of September. Halloween is approaching. Get those Halloween costumes in already. Don't be that person that waits until 4 days beforehand to figure out what you're going to get for Halloween, and then you can't get what you want, and you don't know what to get. So plan ahead. Plan with your friends. Maybe plan with your significant other. Make sure, if you have multiple events you're going to, maybe you want 2 or 3. And I'm not saying they have to be expensive. Do like a make your own for one of them.
DIY.
DIY, absolutely. Like, I have one for work, and I'm probably going to get one for if I go to a party or something like that, or if I just need a costume. So, ordered my first one. It is not exact, but it looks like Buddy the Elf. And honestly, I can use Buddy the Elf the entire time. It does look pretty much. Well, I sent you a picture. Would you say it's an exact replica?
Okay, yeah. I mean, it can't be Will Ferrell without being Will Ferrell, so.
Exactly. I had to get the wig. But I'm going to use that all year round. Actually, I might just wear it on Christmas this year.
Yeah. It's a double whammy.
Right. New Year's Eve party.
Yeah.
Right.
Speaking of holidays, yes, make sure you get your costumes for Halloween. I do want to say, because it is this week, Jenna's mom and dad celebrated their anniversary this past Sunday. However, happy anniversary to them. And do you remember the 21st night of September is when my parents got married? So happy anniversary to my mom and dad. And I'm trying to think if there's any other anniversaries or birthdays that I should be aware of. No.
And if only we knew someone from the band or related to the band, we could really
you're thinking
really get them on the podcast.
I hate to say it, you're thinking of the wrong band.
I think of the wrong band. Damn it. I tried.
It's Earth, Wind, and Fire, Matt. The band you were thinking of was Kool and the Gang.
Oh, really? I thought it was Earth, Wind, and Fire.
No.
I think you're thinking of the wrong band.
No, Matt.
I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Wait till you hear what I tell you after the podcast recording. So I'm gonna.
I was gonna say, why don't you call him right now on the podcast? Let's find out.
No.
All right, never mind.
Matt.
Judas.
He
no.
passed away.
What?
Yes. He passed away.
No. Wow.
Yes. I was gonna save it for after the podcast, but no,
you could have saved it for after the podcast.
Nope.
Wow. Well, I feel like a dick.
And until the next time, we'll see you all in the next episode.
Stay safe, everyone.